What do you need to know if you're thinking about moving to Snohomish County? Like, what is the insider pro tips, the local's guide to living here? Where do you need to eat at? What do you want to know about? What are the activities you need to be thinking about? The notable attractions, and of course, what are the different neighborhoods you should consider if you're going to be buying a house as well? We're going to break that all down for you in today's video. Let's start with the popular neighborhoods in Snohomish County. There's a lot of them, but I want to just kind of touch on some that I think are really like the most significant and that are always brought up to me by different buyers that are looking for theirs. The first one is Rucker Avenue in Everett. Rucker is a historic neighborhood. It's right on the edge, the north edge of downtown Everett. You can walk right into the city from there. It's a beautiful street. The west side of Rucker Avenue has a lot of view properties. It's kind of hanging off the edge over there, and some really knockout west facing views. A lot of the homes in Rucker are historic and they've been remodeled. So they're going to be gorgeous, gorgeous homes. If you're lucky enough to be able to afford one of those, it's absolutely a neighborhood you want to look at. There's also some nice parks there. Great location for kids.
Cool thing about Rucker too, a lot of those are like really big, beautiful, classic 4-square homes. So, I mean, they're just beautiful to even look at when you drive through the neighborhood. Next popular neighborhood is Silver Lake area of Everett. So there's kind of two portions to this because Silver Lake area in Everett actually borders Snohomish on one side, Mill Creek on the other side, and then of course the rest of Everett on the north side. But there's a couple of neighborhoods specifically in Silver Lake that are really, really excellent places to live with a great vicinity to amenities. One of those is called Pioneer Trails. This is one that, again, borders kind of Mill Creek area, so you've got really close access to Mill Creek Town Center. You also have multiple new developments with excellent restaurants, great shopping, a lot of local businesses, gyms, and great schools in this area as well. If you go just a little bit north to the actual Silver Lake in Everett, it has some, it was developed kind of in the 70s, 80s, so a lot of the homes around Silver Lake itself are relatively dated but beautiful in structure. So a lot of those are kind of being turned over as owners are selling and new generations are taking over, but really, really great area. One of the cool things about, especially the Pioneer Trails neighborhood down in the Silver Lake area, are the lot sizes. They were, these developments were done in the 90s, so these lots are 9, 10, 11,000 square foot lots. So you've got big, beautiful, almost estate type feel.
Huge, yeah. And we lived there 8 years ago ourselves. Like we had, we had 3 kids at the time, but it was really a nice area for our family. Like I think when we moved in there, the neighbors brought us like donuts and cookies and stuff.
And donuts,
like
yeah.
Where does that happen anymore, right? So yeah, the grandeur of the homes in Pioneer Trails definitely stand out. Like Rachel said, a lot of them were built in the 80s and 90s, and they're just these like tall, classic, large homes on big lots. So super cool area. I love that area. CrossWater Lake Stevens is the third one you want to put on your radar. We have also lived in CrossWater neighborhood. We lived there about 6 years ago. We lived there for 3 years with our kids, and our kids absolutely love it. I think this is maybe the most family-friendly neighborhood in Snohomish County. There's a lot of possible contenders for that title, but this one definitely is a serious contender. It's just cool. Like it was built in 2007, 8, 9 by Polygon Homes. There's about 500-600 homes in there. There's also some duplexes in kind of like a 50+ area of it as well that is gated, but it's just a really nice family-friendly area. When you open up your door and you get into CrossWater, you're going to hit kids laughing. You're going to see them playing everywhere. Everyone knows everyone. All the kids play together. Our kids, even after having lived there 6 years ago, are still friends with some of the people they met in that neighborhood. So if you're a family and you definitely want to think about Lake Stevens, consider CrossWater. It also goes into some really great schools as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, like for those of you who are concerned about schools, the CrossWater neighborhood is attached to one of the newest and one of the best elementary schools in the Lake Stevens School District, which is a very, very popular school district. It's called Stevens Creek Elementary. So excellent schools connected to that neighborhood. Next neighborhood is GlenEagle in Arlington. Again, one of those master communities that was developed in probably late 80s, early 90s, but a beautiful, beautiful area. You've got a mix of all sorts of different homes in this neighborhood, including ramblers, 2-story homes, different development, like different parts of the neighborhood were developed at different times. So you've got kind of architecture from the 80s into the 90s and some even still the early 2000s. So it's a golf course community, so it has pretty strict HOA, which really helps upkeep property values, right? So in some of the neighborhoods specifically, you've got restrictions on what kind of roofing material, what kind of paint colors. Some people don't like that. Some people don't want that kind of, a restriction, but a lot of people really appreciate having an HOA that's strong so that you can maintain those property values. So really, really cool area. It's also got, of course, tons of parks along with the golf course, as well as great vicinity to anything that Arlington and Smoky Point have to offer.
Yeah, it's like right off Highway 9, so you can get north or south up to Arlington or down to Marysville very quickly from GlenEagle. Definitely, if you're a golfer, something you should absolutely look at. The Fryelands in Monroe is the next one I'm going to bring up. So the Fryelands, like when you're coming into Monroe, first big stoplight right there, there's a gas station, you turn right there, and then Fryelands is on your left. It's a pretty large community, hundreds and hundreds of homes, again, built in the 90s mostly. But these are just like classic, really family-friendly type neighborhoods and homes that you're going to see in Fryelands. We've had multiple clients buy there that were very happy with it. You can walk to different parks. There's a really great park right across the street from it. You can walk to a couple of restaurants. There's a brewery you can walk to as well. So it's just a nice, safe area to live. If you're thinking about Monroe and you have a budget that's between $600,000 to $800,000 at the current moment, Fryelands could be a place that you definitely want to take a look at.
And last one we're going to cover for today, at least, is the Glenmore Neighborhood, which is kind of
nice
right on the line between Lake Stevens and Marysville. So the Glenmore Neighborhood was a more recently developed neighborhood here in the last 10 or 15 years here in Snohomish County. It is technically off the north end of Lake Stevens and off the east side of Marysville, and driving into the back end of Glenmore, it doesn't actually feel like you're driving into a neighborhood. It kind of feels like you're going into nowhere, which is part of the beauty of it. When you get back into the Glenmore neighborhood, you have multiple local builders who have built different parts of the neighborhood up, but they all feel very congruent. So you're looking at very, very large lots of large homes, and absolutely one of the most coveted areas for families. This is like a move up or second move up kind of property. We've both sold multiple properties in there from when they were new construction with builders like Acme, builders like
Pulte,
thank you, that was what I was thinking of. So you've got multiple local builders building really great product in this neighborhood. So you've got multiple options for kind of different price points, but you're gonna find large homes, four bed, 3 bath, 3,000 square foot homes minimum, with RV garages and big driveways. So it's a fantastic area if you're looking to move up into a larger home, if you're living in one smaller now, or if you're new to the area and you really enjoy kind of a nice, private, quiet, people don't speed down the streets. It's very respectful kind of neighborhood with really big lots and lots of pride of ownership.
It feels like a park when you go in there. Like they left all these old growth trees and stuff. And so it's just beautiful, very stunning area. So those would be just some of the top neighborhoods we recommend checking out. They each have their own kind of flavor and vibe to them. Definitely have their own price points as well. Like in Glenmore, you're going to want to be spending north of $1 million to be in that neighborhood. But if you can afford it, great place to live. Let's move on to my favorite topic of the day, and that's places to eat. Where do you need to know where to eat at in Snohomish County? We definitely have done our research on this one. We love food. We love going out to eat. Like for us, going out to eat is like an experience. It's not just the food. So here's a couple of our favorite restaurants in Snohomish County. The first one, and this is one that we're really hot on right now, it's Kai Sushi in Everett. Very, very good. Katana Sushi gets a lot of the attraction, but Kai is kind of like the underdog that I think is kind of closing on Katana. It's super good, very fresh. When we go in there, we order like 10 rolls, and the nigiri is amazing. Everything's just crazy fresh. Like it is just so good. The atmosphere is mediocre. Like it doesn't feel super bougie like Katana does, but it is a very, very good experience as far as the food quality goes, and the service is usually okay as well. They have sake too if you're into that sort of thing too.
Yeah, I mean the menu in and of itself is great, and it's right downtown Everett, so it's got a cool vibe, kind of an urban vibe. They don't take reservations, so if you're going there for dinner, make sure you're getting there a little bit earlier than probably usual. You might be waiting for a table. Second one is probably my personal favorite in the entire county. He laughs because it's true. Playa Bonita. So they have locations in Marysville and Granite Falls. They also have one, I believe, in Angel of the Winds Casino.
Yeah, Arlington.
Yep. And as a local family-owned Mexican restaurant, they just do everything to such an excellent status. Like all the food is consistent, all of the service is consistent, and I can't, of course, go without saying their skinny margaritas are the best in the entire county. So if you like a good skinny margarita and you want to have some delicious shrimp tacos or beef tacos, Playa Bonita is for sure the place to go. We frequent, well, maybe not frequent, but we often are going to the one here in our hometown at Granite Falls. They treat you like family when you go in. They remember your names. Like, it's just a fantastic locally owned Mexican place that you will never be disappointed in the food or the beverages.
It's making me hungry just thinking about it. The third one is quite a bit more fancy than the first two, and that is Rare Society in Mill Creek. They've gotten a lot of buzz in the last 6 months. Relatively new restaurant, kind of on the edge of Mill Creek, where Mill Creek runs into kind of the Seattle Hill area. Very good. You know, think Vegas-style steakhouse, like very high-end appetizers, like crab legs and things like that. And then, of course, they do really, really good steak. Like, you can order like this different cuts of meat plate where you're gonna get like 3 or 4 different kinds of steak that are all very high-end, very tasty. A lot of fun. Definitely a special occasion kind of place. Like maybe if you're celebrating an anniversary, a big birthday, definitely could be worth checking out Rare Society. Pretty decent drinks too, right?
Yeah, they were super decent drinks. Really like craft style. And the service is really good too. For being, you know, what feels like a smaller place because it's in Mill Creek in a newer little development. They've done a really good job of bringing in good talent for their service staff. So it was really, really good experience when we've been there.
Yeah, very polished.
Next one we want to bring up is happy hour places. So the Everett Waterfront has really made an intentional effort to update a significant amount of the businesses in that area. But one of the most popular to date places in the Everett Waterfront for happy hour is Anthony's Home Port. So Anthony's has a really incredible outside eating space, and all of the restaurant has huge windows looking out over the marina. So it's just a fantastic place to go. One of the best things that Anthony's does really, really well is they take seasonal fruit, seasonal vegetables, and they'll make dishes or cocktails or specialty drinks based off of those seasonal those seasonal fruit or veggies. So it's really fun to go in different times of year, because one time you'll have a huckleberry margarita and the next time you'll have a vodka strawberry lemonade, and they're all fresh made with local ingredients. So really, really cool place. Just to piggyback off of what else is kind of in the waterfront, there's also a really incredible distillery called Blue Water. You can find really local cocktails, really fresh farm to table kind of plates. And then right next to that is also Scuttlebutt Brewing. So you going down to the Everett Waterfront, you've got multiple different options for happy hour choices. But those are some of our absolute favorite ones.
Anthony's is not our favorite for dinner. It's just kind of a fun place for happy hour. And I think it's fun for happy hour because of the views, like being right on the water right there. And then also some of their apps are really good. Like they do seafood reasonably well, for sure. Blue Water's drinks are fantastic. Like some of the best drinks in the county, for sure. Next up, pizza. Like, of course, we got to touch on pizza. Everyone, you're going to get a pizza craving. Where do you go? We've got 2 recommendations for you, Conto's or Omega. Conto's is in Lake Stevens. Think like thicker crust, very, very good. You probably only need a few slices. Like if you think you're gonna eat like a whole pizza, watch out. It's good, but it's heavy, okay? So just keep that in mind. They have a bunch of different kinds of pasta, salads, sandwiches, things like that too. But Conto's, great reputation, awesome food, good service. Definitely go check that out if you like kind of thicker crust pizza. Second to that is Omega. Omega is in Granite Falls, which is where we live, and so we're kind of partial to that just for the convenience. It's right on the edge in Main Street there when you come into town at the first stop sign, and really good. Their pizza's fantastic. We usually order like half the cheese because all the cheese is very, very heavy, but it's good. You know, it's not like world class, but it's very, very good to eat here and there.
Yeah, for a small town pizza, I mean, taking something to go when you're really craving that pizza, it's a fantastic place to go.
Yep.
And you're supporting local, obviously, as well. Next one, so Sunday brunch. Like, where do we go for Sunday brunch? You're gonna have several of the larger commercial restaurants that may serve Sunday brunch, but a little known, well, widely known now, gem in Snohomish County is a restaurant called LJ's in Lake Stevens. The owner of this restaurant has just done such a phenomenal job at maintaining the consistency in the food. The recipes are fantastic, but their Sunday brunch especially is just absolutely on point. They've got a little something for everybody. So they've got some delicious, adult coffee beverages and of course some adult brunch beverages. But they also have, like, the food situation is unreal.
Our kids really like the chicken and waffles there. They like batter their own chicken and everything else. It's pretty awesome. Like, I feel like we're sharing one of our like hidden secrets right now. So
we literally are. So, like, please, like,
don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody, right? Yeah. Obviously, when you're going to LJ's and Lake Stevens. But they have avocado toast, they have chicken and waffles, they have...
They have the best avocado toast I've ever had, hands down.
Which is saying something.
It's fantastic. Yeah, like the way they put the egg on it and all the little fresh herbs. I mean, like, do yourself a favor, turn off this video right now if it's Sunday, go to LJ's and eat the avocado toast. You can thank me later, okay?
Yes, absolutely. And go get the lavender spritz. It's phenomenal. So, as you can tell, we're kind of passionate about this brunch.
Pro tip too, make a reservation. They used to not take reservations. They do take reservations now. I would recommend making a reservation if you're going to go there on Sunday.
You have to have it. Yeah, you have to have it. And they likely still won't take reservations on bigger holidays like Mother's Day, Father's Day, that kind of thing. Obviously Easter, but on a normal Sunday, go. Please go.
All right, the last restaurant recommendation we got for you, this is one of my favorites. Like if you're craving a burger, we got to tell you where to go. There's only one place. It's Nutty's in Arlington. Oh my gosh, this place is amazing. Think like old school, like 50s hamburger joint. They've got all these antique cars and all this like stuff on the walls. I mean, all the
old signs and motorcycle parts. It's
all this
literally
memorabilia.
called Nutty's Junkyard Grill. So you walk in, it feels like a junkyard, very nice polished junkyard.
But they're like hand smashing their burgers. They're cooking them to order. They hand cut their own fries. They make their own fish and chips. And the Nutty sauce, oh my God. Order the Nutty sauce with your fries and just dunk it in there and thank you later. It's so good, yeah. But Nutty's is like indisputably the best place for a quick burger in Snohomish County. They also have killer milkshakes. Like they actually make milkshakes the old school way, using ice cream, not using soft serve. And so our kids love their milkshakes. Like maybe the best Oreo milkshake I've ever had. Well, now that we've gotten through the food, let's get to
we give away all of our secrets.
The stuff to do.
Yeah. All right,
what should you do?
Yep. Yeah, let's talk about attractions in Snohomish County. So the first one I wanted to bring up is the Tulalip Casino. So the casino itself is right in Marysville, but attached to Marysville is this Tulalip reservation. And so, of course, in Washington State, the tribes can do casinos because they have a lot of tax breaks to do so. And they have done such a phenomenal job with this Tulalip Resort Casino. It has a fantastic, beautiful hotel attached to it. They have regular attractions that they bring in, a lot of different events, smaller like fights and concerts and comedians and that kind of thing. And we're not gamblers, but apparently they have a great gambling floor as well as a lot of good poker tournaments. So if you are loving that kind of Vegas vibe, but you want to be able to like step outside and then go home within 20 minutes, Tulalip Casino Resort is for sure the place to be. We've actually done some staycations, so date nights where we'll go head over to the steakhouse, the seafood place that is in the resort, in the casino, and then stay in the hotel. And it's a great little staycation, super safe, really central in Snohomish County.
Some definitely good fine dining in the Tulalip Casino, no doubt about that. Right next to that is the Seattle Premium Outlets, which is where a lot of shopping is had in Snohomish County. People come up from Seattle, they come down from Canada. There's all sorts of brands there, like some of the biggest brands like Nike are there, Lululemon, things like that. So it's definitely a shopping hub of Snohomish County, definitely a place to look at. It gets super busy there. Like if you go there during the holidays, watch out. Like it's kind of a zoo. Weekends as well. Yeah, it can be just kind of crazy. Right kind of just south of that is also Cabela's. Cabela's is awesome. It's like a big outdoor shop, you know, for fishing, hunting, things like that. So it's hard to go to outlet malls and not go swing by Cabela's on your way out of there.
Yeah, it's a really good area. So next attraction we want to talk about is the Centennial Trail. So Snohomish County, you know, has such an outdoorsy overall vibe, right? Like a bunch of people move into Snohomish County who love hiking, who love outdoors stuff, who love the lakes, who love all these different outdoor activities. And Centennial Trail is one of the most epic and longest trails that I actually know of that's maintained, you know, by the public sector. So I believe the Centennial Trail starts all the way up in Arlington, and it goes all the way through. It goes through Everett, through Mill Creek, through I think parts of Snohomish, and then down into Bothell. So I mean, the Centennial Trail, I couldn't tell you how many miles long it is, but there are portions of it that are absolutely fantastic for biking, for
paved,
dog walking. Yep. Yeah, and it's all paved. So it's like, it's a phenomenal... You can access places of Snohomish County on the Centennial Trail that you can't get to with a car. So being able to walk these trails, ride bike on these trails, some people obviously like scooter, all sorts of things. You can see some absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous back roads and back parts of Snohomish County that you wouldn't be able to see otherwise. So especially this time of year as we're getting into the fall, the leaves are turning, what a fantastic time to go walking, biking on the Centennial Trail.
Yeah, insider tip too, go to the Snohomish part of Centennial Trail and end your bike ride at the tap house that's down there. So good. Trails End. Fantastic. Great pizza, great sandwiches, lots of beer on tap, fantastic patio, great place to hang out. Next up is paddleboarding on Lake Stevens. Obviously, I don't really recommend this in the wintertime, but in the summertime, totally worth doing. Lundin Park, you can rent a paddleboard and go out there and just kind of paddle your way around the lake. It does get choppy in the afternoons and you see boats ripping around, all the wakes kicking up. But if it's like 80, 90 degrees, who cares if you fall on at that point? Definitely go check that out. When you look up to your left, when you're paddling out, you're gonna see Mount Pilchuck rising up above the lake. It's kind of a cool view.
Absolutely, that's a really, really fun one. They also have a lot of different paddleboard yoga and all sorts of different classes that go on out of Lundin Park during the summer, so you for sure want to look that up.
Paddleboard yoga?
Okay. I've never done it. Apparently it's quite difficult, so good luck to you. The next one is Edmonds Beach. So Edmonds is, as we've talked about in other videos before, Edmonds is a waterfront community that is kind of shaped like a bowl, right? So it's very hilly up from sea level, and you're looking out over the water, over to like Langley, over to Whidbey Island, from Edmonds. So of course, along with the waterfront community comes a big, beautiful beach. So Edmonds Beach, going over and being able to watch the sunset on Edmonds Beach because you're staring out west is one of the coolest experiences that you can have when you're in this area. So as an attraction, go down to Edmonds, go grab a coffee or a cup of ice cream, walk down to the beach, enjoy the sunset on one of the benches out there in the park, and just watch the waves, watch the ferry boats go by. It's one of the most calming and coolest areas to spend a little bit of time, especially if you can time it for a sunset.
Yeah, maybe do happy hour, then finish it on the beach. Next up is hiking Mount Pilchuck. I just talked about Mount Pilchuck a minute ago, kind of rising above Lake Stevens. To get to Mount Pilchuck, you're going to go into Granite Falls off Highway 92, turn left down the Mountain Loop Highway, go about 15 miles down the road past Verlo, and you're going to go down a dirt road, and there's Mount Pilchuck. Mount Pilchuck is awesome. It's maybe one of those popular hikes in Snohomish County, if not the most popular. You can see it from so many different places across the county. Like, it's just obvious. When you're driving to Granite Falls, you can't miss it. It's like hanging right above your head. It's right there, and it's absolutely stunning. At the top of Mount Pilchuck, there's a fire lookout, so you can kind of like climb up the ladder to the lookout. We actually did this when Rachel was pregnant with our youngest child, Phoebe, and I think you made it up there in like 2 hours still, right?
Yeah, I sure did. I was 27 weeks pregnant, and I still did it.
Badass.
It was very fit, though. So, yeah. Do not try this at home if you're 27 weeks pregnant.
Plan on at least a couple hours up and like an hour down. Time it for a nice summer day. You will see Mount Baker to the north, Mount Rainier to the south. Kind of a cool vantage point. It's
one of those that 6 months out of the year is actually inaccessible because snow covers most of the path, about half of the upper portion. So we typically have to wait till the end of June for it to even be accessible, which is kind of cool. But beautiful, beautiful place. Last one we're going to talk about is Paine Field. Paine Field is an area that Boeing is part of their manufacturing, operations there in Paine Field. And a couple of years ago, they opened it up to commercial flights. So now Paine Field runs a couple of different airlines out of Paine Field for commercial flights over to Arizona, parts of the Midwest, California. And so it's one of the most underestimated airports, I think, in the area. Like, it's catching on, of course, with locals, but if you're moving to the area, people really only know SeaTac. So if you're somebody who travels for work, or you have to fly down to California often, or they've just now opened up flights over to Hawaii, if you love to visit Hawaii, Paine Field is a fantastic airport to utilize because it's really easy in and out. Parking is right across literally right across the parking lot from the actual terminals, and there's only a handful of terminals with a cute little bar inside while you're waiting, as well as a coffee shop that does sandwiches and stuff. So really great little efficient airport, really great for easy in and out if you're traveling or short trips or you travel for work.
I was gonna say, to me, Paine Field really opens up the kind of classic getaway locations. Like, if you want to get away for like a 3-day weekend or a 4-day weekend, our favorite places to go to Paine Field are definitely Vegas. Scottsdale is good. Orange County down to like the Newport Beach, Long Beach area is good. We haven't been to Boise from there, but I know other people that have loved that. So it's really it makes leaving on a Friday, coming back on a Sunday actually doable and actually kind of enjoyable versus having to drive down to SeaTac, deal with their security, the parking, all that other fun stuff. So All right, so that was the things to do. And now let's finish and talk about home values. So I get asked all the time, where should I look at buying a home? And are there still any value-based markets in Snohomish County? Like, can I still get a deal? And the answer is yes and no. Snohomish County has become an expensive place to live with an average home price of about $850,000. So be very clear about that. But there are still pockets that are less expensive. And those are kind of the peripheral areas. Like if you look at a map of Snohomish County, you'll see Everett's kind of like the hub there, right, of Snohomish, and then it's kind of rounded out by some areas around there. And so some of those peripheral areas are going to bring you some value: Granite Falls, Sultan, Gold Bar, Stanwood. So you're going to have to drive a little bit to get to any of these areas, but you're going to save a lot of money on the home price. You could probably buy a home $600,000 or maybe a little bit below that's still in decent condition in some of these locations as of the shooting of this video. Who knows what's going to happen in the months ahead.
Yeah, exactly right. And then conversely to that, so he talked about the most affordable towns in Snohomish County. I'm going to talk about the most expensive towns in Snohomish County. So obviously when you're looking at the map and you see Everett as kind of the hub, and you're seeing obviously the most affordable communities are going to be out to the east, away from the waterfront. Well, we're going to go the opposite side. We're going to go the west side to find the most expensive communities in Snohomish County. And immediately southeast of Everett, you have Mukilteo, and immediately south of that, you have Edmonds. And those by far are the two most expensive areas, the most expensive cities in Snohomish County. Because the majority of the homes there, number one, are in big, beautiful communities. So you've got a ton of square footage on big, beautiful lots. And the other part is that you've got some crazy knockout views of the bay. So when you're talking views and you're talking a lot of home, you're talking some big numbers. So it's not uncommon to see homes in the $1.5 million to $2 million range in both of these areas, all the way up to 3, 4, 5 million, depending on the property, depending on the size, and of course, depending on the views.
If you got questions about any of this, definitely reach out to us. All our contact information is down below. If you eat at any of these restaurants, tell us in the comments below as well.
Please. I want to know if you like that skinny margarita.